All right. Next up is our co-founder, Denise M. Baran-Unland. Denise is the author of the Bryony series of supernatural literary trilogy for young and new adults, The Adventures of Cornell Dyer, a chapter book series for grade school children, and the Bertrand the Mouse series for young children. She's the co-founder of our group and previously taught features writing for a homeschool co-op with the students' work published in the Co-op magazine and in the Herald News in Joliet. Denise blogs daily and is currently the features editor at the Herald News. Tonight she's going to read one selection from Before the Blood, which is the Bryony series prequel in 2 parts. And so here is part 1. Denise.
So the problem, I've done a few of these now, and so 2 dilemmas. One is I get a little better at not being nervous because I'm more comfortable behind a computer instead of behind a microphone. And the other challenge is trying to find something. I don't write poems and I don't write essays, and so it's trying to find an excerpt that's a complete story in itself. So the first bit is probably going to be a little bit longer, go over time. And the second bit will be much shorter, but like Darian, I have it in 2 pieces. So about all you would need to know for this excerpt is, in my trilogy, I have this vampire named Kellen Wexler, and he was a 17th century, very poor German farmer who was turned while he was dying of the plague. For this reading, you need to know he really does not like women with red hair, and he has a bunch of crows that hang out with him. And the concept for this story is that obviously vampires, they hunt people for food, and that's what they do. He, as a poor farmer, learned he could also target wealthy, influential victims and let them live in exchange for their wealth and power. So the first time that happened to him, it was at the time of night, when sleep is heaviest and nightmares darkest, when shadows of dread cloak the soul as it slumbers. Kellen had positioned himself upon the chest of the Burgermeister of Celibates and was contemplating which vein provided the juiciest first bite by playing any tenny mony may, when the Burgermeister opened his eyes and recoiled. "My God, it's Beelzebub!" Don't be ridiculous, and nothing of the sort. Kellen tossed his head and sniffed in mock offense, irked that the man's wakefulness would kill the sweet taste in his blood. "I'm just a midnight mirage bringing eternal slumber." He pointed a claw at the man's wide nose. "Now make this pleasanter for both of us and go back to sleep." But the man trembled in mortal terror. "Don't kill me! I'll give you whatever you like." "You have nothing I like but blood." "Well, speak or not as you wish. I'm still going to drink to your dust." "No!" "Slurp, slurp, slurp," Kellen chanted. "Oh, what a lovely, lovely sound." The swollen veins at Burgermeister's temple would do for the first course, especially the one on the left. Just as Kellen readied his fangs for the ramming, the man blurted out, "A dead Burgermeister is hardly as useful to a demon as a live one." Kellen's eyes flickered back to the man's face. "Beg pardon?" I heard what you said. I'm discerning the meaning." A dim light of hope shone in the man's filmy eyes. "I can provide the meaning, may I?" Thoughtfully, yet annoyed at the subtle shift to the scene, Kellen slackened his hold but didn't let go. "You may." The man hesitated, his eyes flitting about Kellen, and then he said, "The coarseness of your skin, even in death, suggests a previous peasant existence. Even as a vampire, you still grovel for food. Why content yourself with scrabbling when you can thrive and rule?" "Thrive and rule? I may be dead, but I'm no fool." "I wouldn't offer my wealth and position to a fool." "Not even one prepared to slay you?" The man fell silent. This was going nowhere. Kellen's mouth headed for the man's forehead. "Wait!" Kellen sighed and lifted his head. "Now what?" "My offer will not sway you?" "Don't spurn death. You haven't tried it." Again, Kellen leaned in. "The same is true for you regarding prosperity and power." Well, that was rather bold for someone uttering his final words. Kellen drew back and thoughtfully studied his prey. "What do you propose?" "A trade," the man said, despite the quaver in his voice. "A trade. Spare my life, yes, and I share my eminence. Kellen's laughs were short and harsh. Destroy me, you mean? You'll be dousing me in holy water the moment I release you. Not, the man said, raising his double chin, with collateral. His full and juicy veins taunted Kellen with their pulsating. Collateral? Ah, now I see. With a quick flick of a long nail, Kellen nicked the vein and laughed, struggling with restraint, for Burgermeister's blood was robust, and Kellen was very hungry. If I betray you, I die, Burgermeister said. Well, if Kellen didn't stop now, this treasure of a man would definitely die, and quickly. With a scoop of trickling blood and a strangled groan of reluctant self-control, Kellen eased off Burgermeister, rose to his feet, and paused long enough for his tongue to slither around his finger as he relished this last of his pack. Well, the last for the night anyway. Parting with riches and honor is worth your life? A gleam appeared in Burgermeister's eyes and was gone. I have enemies, the man said simply. And they are who? Your dinner. So Kellen became Herr Willikin Cassendorf, a celebrated scholar and Burgermeister's estranged nephew, who only recently learned of this family connection at the death of his father Bolrad. Now quite alone in the world, Willikin had moved to Celebitz to connect with his only living relative. Now shortly after Kellen had settled into the Burgermeister's villa at the edge of town, the Burgermeister killed the fatted hare in Willikin's honor and proudly showed off his nephew, now seated at his right hand. Kellen scrutinized each individual, but none of the officials' wives had red hair. Celibitz's councilmen and other guests drank, ate, and drank in Kellen's honor. Several seemed less merry than the rest. These men, the Burgermeister murmured to Kellen as he passed the crayfish, were the promised offerings. Each, for his own reasons, would rejoice to find me dead, the Burgermeister whispered around a mouthful of fish and behind a glass of wine. For both our sakes they must be. Herr Cassendorf, said a tall man, of what subject did you profess? Mathematics. The reason why our honorable Burgermeister has asked me to oversee his wealth. It would not do to find. And here Kellen's gaze swept over the dinner party and lingered over each malcontent. Discrepancies in its management. At which university? Inquired a second. The university in Prague, Kellen said. I am presently on sabbatical. Well, then you plan to return, asked a third. That is undetermined, Kellen said. The jugged hair made its rounds. It strikes me as strange, said Herr Franz Weidermann, that at the peak of Burgermeister's popularity, a nephew heretofore unknown to him should mysteriously surface and claim familiar privileges. Privileges that are mine to bestow, you mean, Herr Weidermann, Burgermeister said. A hush ran through the room. Franz briefly bowed his head before probing Burgermeister with eyes of coal. Forgive me, Burgermeister, if my words sounded disrespectful. I merely seek to protect your interests. Your duty is to protect the interests of Celebitz. My affairs are my business. He raised his glass. A toast to family lost and found. All glasses raised high in the air, Franz's less so. That night, as Kellen prepared to take flight for the real banquet, Burgermeister entered his room, causing Kellen to teeter on the sill and nearly fall. Can't you knock? Kellen complained as he dropped to the ground. Be quick, I'm starving. Your dinner party was torture. Torture? Well, I know the cook is new, but surrounded by food and unable to partake. A shame, I agree, but be assured your portion of pastry was not wasted. Not the pastry, the people. It whetted my appetite on the puny Franz. Burgermeister's smile fled. That, beloved nephew, is the reason for my visit. Remember, no deviating from our strategy. We kill on time and in order. No need to worry your ugly fat head. I rarely sup in Germany. I have what you might call cosmopolitan taste. Just so we understand each other, you do not kill Franz until after the first 3 are destroyed. Kellen whooshed away from the window and placed a gloved hand on each of Burgermeister's chipmunk cheeks. You may be Celibitz's Burgermeister, but I am your Burgermeister. And this Burgermeister is unhappy at having his first meal of the night interrupted. It's best we stick to the roles we best enact, Burgermeister said, although he nervously eyed Kellen as Kellen played with the vein in his neck. I serve dinner to you, not the other way around. I think, Kellen said as he propped up Burgermeister's chin, you You owe me an appetizer to compensate my delay. Burgermeister trembled, but he did not resist. He only said, as you wish, and closed his eyes.
No, that's fine. All right, part one. Thank you very much.